two thrones loom in the shadowed hall of the Gerousia. Bronze arms cold, crimson drapes heavy with silence. Torchlight flickers across the faces of kings who share a crown, but not a fate. History remembers one king of Sparta, intones the narrator, voice low as grinding stone. But Sparta always had two. Cut to Leonidas, oil glistening on his chest as he straps on his cuirass, eyes fixed on the northern pass where death awaits. Parallel frame Leotychidas, his co-king, seated beneath the temple colonnade, fingers tracing the wax of a diplomatic seal, negotiating with envoys from Argos while war drums echo in the distance. One rules by spear, the other by scroll, yet both are bound by the same ancestral law that splits sovereignty to prevent tyranny. Their rivalry is not of ambition, but of duty. One guards the frontier, the other the hearth. In this duality, Sparta finds its balance, fragile, fierce, and forged in iron. Stone carvings flare under torchlight. Two royal lines etched in parallel. Agiad, bold and martial. Eurypontid, austere and cunning. The camera glides over a parchment unfurling like a battlefield map, its ink dividing Sparta, soul. One crown, two bloodlines, the narrator murmurs. One war council, two voices. In the temple of Apollo, the Agiad king, Leonidas receives omens before battle, his hand on the sacrificial knife. Miles away, Leotychidas of the Eurypontids presides over the ephors, weighing treaties and grain tributes. War belongs to the Agiads, diplomacy to the Eurypontids. But only in theory. Religion binds them both. Each must consult the gods before steel is drawn. Justice, too, is shared, their verdicts echoing through the Gerousia, like twin axes striking the same anvil. This is not balanced by harmony, but by tension. Each king a counterweight to the other's will, ensuring no single hand ever grips Sparta's throat. Bronze reliefs shift to reveal Leotychidas too, leaner, sharper, his brow shadowed not by war helm, but by the weight of calculation. A map unfurls across the marble table. His fingers press not Thermopylae, but Aegina, then Samos, naval routes, not mountain passes. While Leonidas marched toward myth, the narrator says, Leotychidas steered Sparta's shadow fleet. Flash cuts, him whispering to Athenian envoys in moonlit courtyards. His seal stamped on treaties that outmaneuvered Persia without a single hoplite dying. Yet, suspicion clings to him like sea salt. His exile, his rumored Persian bribes, his uneasy dance with the ephors who watch every move. In council, he speaks in riddles wrapped in precedent. Where Leonidas is fire, he is tide, patient, shifting, relentless. Theirs is not friendship, but function. One feeds Sparta's legend, the other its longevity. A storm breaks over the Eurotas as Leonidas is crowned, rain slicking the bronze diadem onto his brow. The Agiad line, eagle sigil blazing on his cloak. Flashbacks carve his origin, son of Anaxandridas, raised in the Argus crucible where hunger taught him command and silence forged his authority. Unlike Leotychidas, whose power flows through scrolls and whispers, Leonidas earns his throne in sweat and scar tissue, his name already echoing in barracks before he wears the crown. The Gerousia bows not to birth alone, but to the unspoken truth. When Sparta bleeds, it calls for him. On the field, his mere presence steadies phalanxes in council. His few words carry the weight of drawn iron. Leotychidas negotiates survival, but Leonidas embodies sacrifice. And in the furnace of memory, myth consumes the mundane. History needs one face for its statue, Sparta's diarchy. For all its design cannot compete with the clarity of a single spear raised at the pass. Inside the Gerousia smoky chamber, the air crackles, not with fire, but with withheld steel. Leonidas stands, map pinned beneath his dagger, tracing the narrow throat of Thermopylae. Leotychidas counters from the shadows, voice smooth as polished obsidian. Persia's fleet gathers at Samos. Lose the sea, and your pass becomes a tomb. The ephors lean forward, eyes glinting like flint. No vote is taken, only silence, thick and testing. Here, power isn't seized, it surrendered reluctantly through layers of precedent and pride. Leonidas commands the army, yet cannot march without the Eurypontid, blessing on logistics, omens, and alliances. Leotychidas shapes policy, but his treaties dissolve if the Agiad king refuses to swear them before Apollo. Their stalemates birth compromise. A third of Sparta's forces sent north, the rest held for naval contingencies. The elders watch, not as arbiters, but as witnesses to a system that thrives not on unity, but on the friction of equals, where every decision is a duel without blood. And Sparta's strength lies in the tension between two wills, forever pulling the city in two directions, yet never letting it fall. Dust swirls in the wake of Leonidas' march. 300 shadows swallowed by the throat of Thermopylae, their shields glinting like dying stars. Inside Sparta is walls. Leotychidas walks the silent agora, his sandals brushing past empty barracks. No fanfare, no oaths, only the weight of a city holding its breath. He reviews grain stores, dispatches scouts to the isthmus, and signs decrees with a hand steady as a helmsman in storm. While the north burns with glory, the south simmers with strategy. In the temple of Athena Chalchuekis, he offers a different kind of sacrifice. Patience over valor, prudence over poetry. The people whisper his name without fire in their voices, but without him, Sparta's flame would gutter out before the war's end. One king went to face immortality. The other remained to preserve the state. Years later, the thrones stand in the same chamber. Bronze tarnished, drapes frayed. One bears the deep gouges of a sword, his hilt, its cushion still indented by Leonidas' weight. The other, Leotychidas' is smooth, untouched, as if memory itself refused to sit there. Sunlight slants through cracks in the temple roof, illuminating dust motes, dancing over an empty seat. We built statues for the dead, the narrator says, voice frayed like old papyrus, but forgot to carve the names of those who kept the stone from crumbling. Frescoes show Leonidas at the pass, eternal in bronze, but no mural honors the treaties signed in moonless courtyards, the fleets redirected, the harvests preserved. Modern myths paint Sparta as a land of singular heroes, blind to the machinery of dual rule that made such heroism possible. In truth, Thermopylae was not just a stand. It was a sacrifice enabled by a king who stayed behind, whose legacy lies not in marble, but in the silence between the lines of history. Moonlight bleeds through the columns of the Abaddon Gerousia, pooling on the twin thrones like liquid silver. The camera circles them slowly. The scarred seat of Leonidas, the vacant one of Leotychidas, then rises through the shattered roof to reveal the stars. Two constellations, once aligned, now drifting apart in the sky. Sparta, the strength was built on two pillars, the narrator says, voice echoing as if from the stone itself. But only one survived in legend, fade to black. Then a single torch flares in the darkness, illuminating a weathered stele newly carved, Leotychidas, king of Sparta, preserver of the peace. Today the voice continues, softer now. We restore the truth. Text fades in over smoldering embers. Comment if you want a full episode dedicated to Sparta's forgotten kings.